live here from the biggest esports event in the world. We call it IEM Katowice, the Intel Extreme Masters. Massive tournament, live every year from Katowice in Poland. And here on our smoky, dramatic stage, it's time for the CROSSFIRE IEM Expo Invitational 2018 Grand Final. When we did this last year, we had an amazing contest which saw the reigning world champions in a decent scrap for the title. They have not had it so easy to get to this stage today, but they are here. And in this grand final, they're going to be playing against a team who beat them earlier on today. And it's a rematch of nothing less than a previous World Championship final as well. I am talking about PENTA Sports, and I'm talking about Super Valiant Gaming to be the champions of the CROSSFIRE IEM Expo Invitational for 2018. So they have fought hard through a double elimination bracket to be here. Let's welcome them to the stage. Katowice, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our first grand finalist, PENTA Sports! Mason, NLS, FaZe, Moon, and Snox are PENTA Sports! Congratulations, PENTA, on making it to our grand final. Please take your places and get ready, and we will meet their opposition, who we have met so many times before. The two-time reigning world champions and the champions of the IEM Expo Invitational last year. Please welcome from China, Super Valiant Gaming. Emzin, WQN9, 18, and Anchor, the reigning world champions, Super Valiant Gaming! Looking confident, looking ready. Good luck, gentlemen. Take your places. Best of 3 time, grand final time, trophy winning time. Let's get into this. Every other match today has been a best of 1. When we saw it earlier, PENTA did an incredible 10-3 over SV. Nobody's ever beat them by that margin before. It's 3 maps now, though. Let's see how it's going to turn out. Who'll be the champion? It's back to Lee, who's with Kyle and Jordan to get into the action.
Thank you very much, Matt. Sadly, no dramatic smoke back here, just some serious analytical stuff.
Should I start talking about my shoes again now, or is it too early for that?
So, PENTA, unexpectedly, I think, safe to say, coming through the winners bracket. Massive winners over Super Valiant. Super Valiant coming into this one on the back of beating XQ Intense twice. So now here we are in the finals. Best of 3 time. We're finally going to break it down and figure out where they're going to go. Now, we've already seen potentials for upsets with Port being picked up by PENTA. That, of course, leads us into where the bans are going to go, because that opens up a whole new world, because suddenly Super Valiant, are they going to use a ban on Port?
Exactly. I mean, as Super Valiant, they've been vetoing away sub-base for the entire day so far. Every single match that they've had, sub-base has been taken away by them. Now, though, the real question is, are they going to allow Port through once more? Because, like you said, they did just lose to PENTA very handedly on that map, and if they allow that through then again, there's a very real possibility that they do end up playing it again and potentially dropping it again. Or have they learned something off that loss that they did suffer, and they then want to play again? Maybe have another crack at Port? I guess we have to find out when we do get to those vetoes.
Well, I can tell you, I've just got the 2 vetoes. And we predictably were right. They did just ban Port away at Super Valiant.
Leave sub-base open.
It does leave sub-base open. Ankara is the ban for PENTA, so it leaves obviously a whole new world open. I mean, sub-base, Black Widow in there, and Mexico open, which we haven't seen all day long.
Yeah, I think this actually plays out pretty well for PENTA. I think banning Ankara was a really smart decision, and if they get lucky, maybe they won't have to play Black Widow. I'm not sure which is the order, but Mexico and sub-base, I think, are maps that could really go PENTA's way if they play like they did on Port earlier in the day.
Well, first map is going to be Mexico. Second, Black Widow, and Decider sub-base if we need it. So, okay, We just talked about it. It's a potential. Where do we look in this one? Because I have seen Super Valiant absolutely smash it on Mexico against Flipside in the past.
Yeah.
PENTA obviously have got 2 members, Face and Snox.
Snox, yeah.
I don't know why I went. I was thinking Scoom for some reason. It's obviously a PUBG player from Team Liquid who I was casting with last week. I don't know why you just pop it in my head. I was literally sat the same.
I feel like you're in love with this guy.
Hey, easy.
I've heard a lot about him.
I love
this
his
weekend.
neutral. But it's Snox I was thinking of. But obviously he and FaZe both played in that team that faced Super Valiant on these maps and came very, very close in those games to taking them down. It ended up 3-0, but I think there was probably 2 maps where they should have picked up victory. They're definitely the one where they went overtime, which they absolutely should have picked up. And at the time, it was a best of 5, of course. We were feeling if they had have picked up that one map and they'd have got to the last 2, they were the maps they'd have picked up, Port being one of them. And I believe Black Widow, or I can't remember if it was Black Widow Subbase, was the 5th fight decider.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this one, it's really going to come down to, I think, who wins Mexico, because Black Widow, I would say, is pretty decidedly in favor of SV.
Yeah.
So I think PENTA, they have to come out swinging and really take home Mexico if they want to take this series away. Otherwise, I think SV is going to be able to walk away with the 2-0 if they are able to win Mexico here.
I can foresee Mexico going the way of PENTA being a possibility. Lee, while you've said you think Mexico's in the past been a good map for SV, I lean on the other side of the coin where I think that SV have struggled on this map fairly recently, actually. So we'll find out which of the 2 of us is going to be correct in our assumptions. SV starting off on Global Risk, and the first kill does go the way of PENTA, but immediately traded back the way of SV. For now, a 4v4. However, Snox tagged down very low.
It's going to be interesting to see which way the own battle goes, the sniper, because FaZe was dominant earlier on against Emzin. Emzin gave it up in the end, and he hasn't got it this first round run in. Of course, that's nothing unusual on the defense here. But that 1-for-1 trade doesn't really net any favor for either team. Moon trying the aggressor there, PENTA, but you can see that SV have got, I would say, almost a European defensive style here. They've pushed up exactly like Flipside and PENTA would.
Yeah, and they do have a nice advantage as well. Snox, he's about 1 bullet from being down here, so it's going to put a lot of pressure onto PENTA to make their move, but they don't seem like they're pretty sure where they want to take this one just yet. I think they're just looking for a secondary pick to have that numbers advantage. They do have everyone sort of creeping on their own, though, so they need to be careful not to get caught off guard.
NLS taking a swing and a miss. Ooh. Oh, and speaking of swings, geez, FaZe finds himself Dabacute in the tunnels underneath. So advantage now with SV. Snox did get tagged up while that was happening. Didn't see where exactly he was peeking at. And you can see Emzin is the man that's sitting on A site. So that's a switch up. I thought Dabacute used to be, I guess Dabacute going down, maybe that's why they've switched up. He used to be the guy back there.
WQ had, at the grand finals, WQ was playing towards the B site. Emzin was anchoring on A. That's exactly the setup we see from SV at this time, and Emzin has a lot of work to do. Backed up a little bit there by Anchor, but Emzin gets nothing done. Anchor, however, double kill for him. Double kill, in fact, for Snox as well, as the bomb site is taken. N9 needs to retake, but 3 for Snox on such little HP. Coming away with a big round there for PENTA, and a good start to the first map of this grand final for them.
Well, a tight first round, Kyle, but it does go the way of PENTA. Is it the start of something special? We will find out as the early action sends to feather out as FaZe gets another amazing peek. Emzin this time, the man that goes down. And if FaZe starts going off like this, SV might have problems.
Definitely, and they really need to find a response for FaZe early on in this match if they want to take it away here on map number 1. But PENTA, if they can keep abusing these picks one by one, they're going to get nice early advantages on the table for themselves before they go in for the push. And looks like right now they're trying to maybe sneak Creeds into a pick as well over towards the waters. But right now, SV, they really need to find one to answer back.
Swing, sprays, FaZe tank the touch. Doesn't go down though. Dabacute trying to stretch his look a little further. Creeds, he's a man that played out of his mind in the winner bracket final. We'll see whether he can work out. He tends to be the pivotal man, it seems, going underneath where everybody else is stacking up for A site here and looking to make that push.
Yeah, a bit of lurk play out here from Creeds just now. Hasn't spotted anyone at this point, however. He is very, very close to a couple of those SV players. needs to be careful with his positioning. N9, did he hear that rotation in through mid? Looks like there's not much of a rotation across from SV just yet, but 18 holding onto the A bomb site, or rather the B bomb site, as long as he can, which is not particularly that long. WQ on the rotation, shooting at his teammate, but he knows there's a player coming from behind, doesn't have much time to work with, needs to turn around, and, well, he does, but he won't land the shots. And PENTA come away with 2 rounds, a good rotation across from them, catches SV off guard.
Creed's left that lurk really, really late. Realised his team had bust in and just held, and it caused Daboku. Obviously, you could see he was looking back. He was like back to the left, looking behind him, looking again, looking back again behind him, and obviously just put him in 2 minds, like you say, and just put that element of doubt in his mind. A 2-0 start for PENTA here is just what the doctor ordered for the Europeans.
Now they really need to keep going forward with that. We've seen time and time again, if you can get that early lead established against SV, that is your best chance to silence them. And right now, PENTA, they've done a great job of really getting a strong map presence, especially in these mid challenges that they take. They're consistently coming out on top. And if you can control mid on this map, that is a huge step forward to being able to execute exactly where you want to. But this time around, they're going to have some trouble waiting for them. 3 players ready to collapse on mid for SV.
Yeah, I'm just completely flashed out there, and it's a 1-for-1 trade, which, all things considered, not too bad there for Super Valiant. 18 just comes charging through, but WQ is the one to find the kills, and Creed's now the man of the moment for PENTA when they did defeat SV earlier on, tasked with a 1v2. WQ just through the wall.
Yeah, the headshot through the wall. Not happy about that one. As you were saying, you know, we saw it in the first round. I was talking about that mid defense, you know, they pushed up really aggressive. They just gave it up that time, and it actually worked for them. So PENTA was stacking up. They're trying to do this set play with the smokes and flashes. Didn't kind of work in their favor in the end. Now, the difference being these last 2 rounds, this round and the previous one, FaZe has given up the rifle, the sniper, for whatever reason. Yeah, he was finding picks at the opening. So whether he's going to switch back to it if this round doesn't work, we'll find out.
And I actually like the decision from FaZe. Now that they're trying to shut down his challenges, I think switching to that AK is going to do a good job of keeping SV on their toes. They don't want to seem too predictable, and that's really been their strength here so far against SV. Every round, they've been going for picks across the board in different routes, and that's really forcing SV to try and read this, but they're still struggling to do so, and now it's going to be a fairly open mid once again for PENTA.
Snook's flashing everybody on his team. Not what he wanted there, as they all trying to back in, and he flashed himself in the process, but Daboku down low, Emzin up high. His middle ground push is working out. They're not drawing anyone out from SV here. They're sitting very, very deep.
They do need to be careful, though. There is a player who looked to push aggressively into water, but Snox, he still finds the opening here, and PENTA, they have the man advantage once again, and it looks like they're going to try and take a hold of B.
WQ in a great spot here. He's going to find 2, looking for more. He gets a 3rd. Not quite. He got taken by 18. Emson also chiming in there, but WQ was just in such a good position. No one thought to check that angle from PENTA, and he had his way with them. 2 for 2 now is where we find ourselves. SV, that last round, a little bit more confident than the first that they did pick up. But slowly and surely, SV is starting to make their way into this game.
Daboku's starting off strong as well. While they did lose those first 2 rounds, he's already picked himself up 7 kills, which is pretty big. 6 for Snox, but NLS peeks around the corner and finds Anchor straight away. Instant headshot. Down he goes. Man advantage. First time in the last 2 rounds that they've had this. And PENTA, did NLS just catch another glimpse there?
No, I don't think so, but N9's going to go for an aggressive play, information play here. He's got the information, he spots out a couple of players there, decides to push forward, so aggressive. He does get a 1-for-1, which from that position I would have to say was a fairly good result, but I do think he probably should have just backed off into the site, and it's really opened the floodgates up here for PENTA. WQ can't do anything. PENTA come away with another round.
And now we see Snox moving to 8-3, and he's really been the one sealing the deal on PENTA's win rounds here. And it's really going to be up to what they can do to respond to his presence in the late portions of these rounds.
Oh, that's a 4-man stack down low, and Emzin pushes through, finds FaZe. FaZe with the sniper there, trying to push on, trying to get that early peek. Creeds does get himself a refrag back on Daboku as he goes down. The beast from the east goes down, and Creeds Well, he's been fairly quiet so far as he moves around, and Snox and Moon. Snox has been a monster. He finds himself another 10-3. This boy is unstoppable. He was so strong in his former days on Flipside when he played against Super Valiant, and he seems to be doing it once again, excelling under the pressure.
Yeah, just an absolute monster right now. Emzen tasked with a 1v3. 3 fairly low HP opponents for him, and we have seen him pull off some pretty crazy clutches on this map in the past. This one would be one of those if he were able to do that. The bomb not yet planted for PENTA.
He's behind them.
Yep.
Oh, they've pushed away. They pushed away. Okay, I thought the backstab was full in fact there. As you mentioned, did they just see him? Did they see him? I think they did. Kreese is backed away. Yeah. I feel they just caught a glimpse of him as he came around there. Now he realizes they're rotating away from him. Oh, and I like the way Moon is moving. This is very aggressive stuff from PENTA, considering they're in a 3v1. Effectively, if they're
very
playing
split.
like the way, if they keep playing this split, there's effectively going to be 1v1s. Ignore the fact that you got the numbers advantage. Sure, you're going to know the position, but man, the rope-a-dope working wonders. Emzen goes around the world, around the back there, and completely sold a dummy by the movement from PENTA.
And now this should be their round for the taking. I mean, PENTA, all they have to do is collapse on Emzen. There's no way he should be able to win this, but we've definitely seen crazier things from Emzen in the past. But Moon, he gets the shutdown, and now SV are forced to have to try and step up again. But the main thing I've noticed here is still N9 is quiet, even in the grand finals.
Yeah, he's had a really quiet tournament. 2-6 now. Hasn't really got going at all anywhere in Katowice, Poland. Clearly not working out for him because he's been a monster in the past. As it is, we're looking at players that have been stepping up, and that's the likes of 18, Dabaku, and Emzen. And at the moment, they all seem to be lacking. Dabaku, the only man with positive KD ratio. And here they go, big set play coming in.
Well, PENTA get into mid, fairly unscathed. A little bit of an exchange of fire, but not really too much damage for either team. As PENTA kind of back out now, so they've just decided that they don't necessarily want to be in mid, they just want control of it. The rotation will go back over towards the B bomb site, and that's something that PENTA have done a few times so far. As they've pressured mid, pressured A, and decided to rotate across. They've left NLS there as a lurker over on the A bomb site. But PENTA now starting to head in through water, and this is not something we've seen from them just yet.
Emzen's in a great spot, swings around, only gets the 1-for-1 trade though. Dabaku the same, he gets taken down pretty quick. N9 does get around the side, but 18 comes in and cleans up there. So Super Valiant, nice claps, quick and responsive from them there to pick out the kills.
And here we have it. It is going to be a quick split coming out from PENTA. They're just going to send one player all alone while the rest of the team works their way from mid control. They're just making sure that no one can get behind them early on. And they're just going to go aggressively into mid, but it's only a 1-for-1 trade so far.
You're doing so much work here. Looks for another, and the Deagle comes out, makes it happen. 3 versus 1, Creeds. Again, this is the play we talked about. He did have an opportunity for a clutch earlier on, wasn't able to secure that. Once more, another opportunity, but a good double peek out from SV. Doesn't give him any openings there. And Super Valiant equalize at 4 apiece.
Just as PENTA pull a lead, they are drawn right back. NLS, while he got that amazing kill earlier on, is still 1-7. It hasn't really got going in this game just yet. Tends to be the opener, and obviously as the opener, you tend to be the guy that just trades at the end of the day at best, which is why he's down at 1-7 at the moment as the rest of the team push around. Creeds again being the lurker, trying to cause problems around the side, tossing out. Super Valiant giving up this mid control once again. Haven't really held it outside of the first round. I think they realize it's not really their ground to hold. So flash goes in and they go again, trying to push around the corner. But while they flash themselves up, the rest of Super Valiant from range will shoot through the smoke.
It is going to be already a 5-on-4. Things not looking too good for PENTA to be able to close out the half, but the potential is still there if they can find that counter pick quickly. But with FaZe out of the picture, it really leaves it on Snox to be one of the high impact players here. Or maybe, just maybe, we'll see NLS step up and make some high impact here to close out the half. But SV, they definitely have full control of the situation here.
It's probably one of the few times that SV has actually had good control of any round actually in this half. A lot of the time they have been fighting from behind, and so far it's been push and shove back and forth between the two teams, 4 apiece. as of yet, really no one has pulled ahead, but the first half is open there now for Super Valiant to come away with one-round advantage. Emsen and Anchor down relatively low, but so too is Snox. As you've said, SV should be able to come away with a victory in this round. However, Penta have been playing well. Would not count them out of this one just yet. Looks like it's going to be an A execute out onto the site. Here comes the grenades.
Flashing around, Snox has been big, but he gets taken down with ease there. Emsen picking up himself a simple triple to close out the half. 5-4 in their advantage. And while they did struggle for a little while at the 4-2 scoreline, being led by Penta, they claw it all the way back and end up picking up the half.
Yeah, I couldn't be too disappointed about that one actually for Super Valiant. I mean, they did start off quite slow, like you said, and to bring it back to a lead at the end of the first half is a fairly reasonable result for them, particularly given we're on a map, Mexico, that they have struggled on recently. We'd sort of highlighted this as the map potential that Penta Sports might have an opportunity to come away with the victory on, potentially push us through to sub-base. Still within the realms of possibility. But at the moment, Super Valiant just slightly in the lead. And that's all they need, really. Even if they can close this map out 10-8, they're still going to be moving on to Black Widow, which we know is their home turf.
Now, interestingly enough, we see no sniper on either side to kick off our second half here. FaZe going for that AK as well as Emsen, so I think it's really going to put the pressure onto SV to make their early move here. FaZe not going for the aggressive pick. And Penta, they're going to be playing most of their players over towards this mid and A ramp position.
And 9, a quiet first half from him, a quiet tournament from him so far. Snox, the first man to come around the back, trying for the backstab. Does get Emsen down, the big captain, but 18 responds, who has been magnificent. N9 with the nade over the top, doesn't really catch anyone, took a fair bit of damage in the process. And SV at the moment caught in no man's land after that Snox backstab. They're kind of hesitant, really, where to go.
And SV, they're definitely playing fairly nervous in this situation. I think they're almost scared to go for this A hit that they had intended, but it looks like they may still try and recommit here. The bomb, though, actually is starting to fall off, so I'm not sure they're going to try and maybe sell a fake here of some sort.
They're waiting for Dabaqu, I think, to get around, because FaZe has got this mid. They've had no mid control, which obviously they did take themselves in the first round. Penta, as I mentioned before, the European style does tend to forcefully take this mid-control. Now they're going to try and rush FaZe down. FaZe, can he get a trade? He can get one. That's all he needed. Gets a second out of the nowhere. NLS peeks around, and 18 is the last man standing. He comes around. Creed sees him and will take him down. We're all square once again at 5-5. And Super Valiant, they just seemed a little lost. After Snox's little backstab there on Emsen, the wheels came off effectively, that attack.
Yeah, not a particularly impressive first round on Blacklist for Super Valiant, but there's plenty more where that came from. So they do have opportunity to make amends for their first round transgressions. 5 apiece though, I mean, it's still really hard to call who's coming out of this one looking a little bit better. I would almost say I think Penta's actually looking a bit better. Super Valiant, some of their rounds that they have picked up have been fairly streaky, so we'll see whether that eventuates into a Map 1 victory for Penta Sports.
And I think SV, they are in a fairly difficult spot right now. The way I see it is, on the global risk half, if N9 isn't fragging, it's not a big deal, but on the blacklist half, he's got to come up big.
Well, once again, we see even trades in the middle, and that's where it seems to be going their way, as once again the peak comes around. It's Creeds versus Emsen, and my word, we've seen this battle already multiple times over on Port in the winner bracket finals. It was Creeds that came out on top time and time again, but Emsen, they don't bank against this man.
He's got the bomb as well, so he's got options available to him, lots of time. I like this though from Creeds. He's deciding not to sit in his bomb site. He's deciding to go for the hunt, try and figure out where Emsen is or what he could be doing. Gives him the opportunity to perhaps rotate a little bit quicker over to the bomb site than Emsen might suspect.
Clever from Emsen there, look, just using the time, using the clock, thinking, all right, you're going to go completely looking for me? Are you going to be completely no man's land here around the spawn site, just sitting there? But actually probably using the time right now to have a discussion, to talk between the team. Obviously, while he's going to try and do his play, the rest of the team need to figure out. Now he's going to try and make his move over towards site. going under the water, and Creeds is right there. He's looking to the left. Oh my word! Emzin with the flick finds Creed's head out of nowhere.
That's the kind of play you expect out of Emzin every now and then, and hopefully for Super Valiant, he's going to be able to step up and give us a bit more of that throughout this second half. If he doesn't, there might be trouble for SV, but so far so good for him.
Well, mid has not been working for Super Valiant. They're switching it up. They're trying to go underneath. Dabaku looking to get the peak, NLS is holding the angle. Now they have the mid push as well, so it's caught Penta in a little awkward situation defensively here. They give up their usual posture, it seems, to try and block that. So they read the situation well. They were clearly expecting Super Valiant to go through the underpass, but it doesn't work out. And situation holds as N9 and Creeds tried to trade. N9 going to back away.
And right now, N9, he has to be that entry fragger once again for SV. We saw in the last round, because he opened up with that 3K, they were able to close it out, but he needs to do that consistently now, and if he can establish that presence here, it's going to do wonders for his team. But Moon, he's going to mow them down.
Oh my god, he gets himself a triple. Finally, we'll get taken down by Dabaku, but the damage is done. It's a 3v2. Looking around the side, Dabaku collects himself the bomb and backs away. Once again, it's the two veterans, the 4 times world champion, Emzin and Dabaku, against NLS FaZe and Creeds. NLS, who had a very quiet first half on the attack, but seems to have livened up a bit here in the defense, and it's going to be once again an A-side push, a pincer move from the veterans. FaZe is going to be the focus, comes around, finds him, evens things up, looks across, NLS gets himself a simple trade back down, and Emzin knows exactly where one is, sees Creeds, goes for the shot, doesn't manage to land it, now he's in no man's land, they know where he is, they don't need to push for it, but they're going to. NLS tries to come in, swings around the side, Creeds gets taken down, NLS suddenly in a dangerous 1v1 position. They had no reason to push this, no reason to peek this. NLS does go for the swing out wide, Emzin doesn't manage to land the shots, tries a second time, NLS backs away, the time is ticking down, but it's still 30 seconds on the timer.
Yeah.
They have all the time, there's no reason to take the risks.
30 seconds is still a long time for a 1v1 clutch. Now, he does not have control of the bomb. That's the problem here for Emzin, so he does actually have to push in and try and take the fuel.
My word.
Great shot from Emzin, and he closes it out, but really, you have to say, that was a mistake from Penta. Like you were saying,
Massive.
in that clutch scenario, they did not need to push. It was a 2v1. There's no need to try and aggress onto Emzin. He didn't even have the bomb. It's not like he could have rotated off. They just had to sit there and wait. But they gave him the opportunity, and again, Emzin takes it. That's 2 clutches in a row.
A very unfortunate misplay there, and now SV, this is their chance to roll ahead and take map number 1, which is actually pretty scary if you think about it for Penta, because what's coming up next is Black Widow, so Penta, they really need to close this map out in their favor.
Well, I feel that may well be the round we look back on.
Yep.
We've had the similar at CFS finals. An even trade, Snox and 18 picking themselves up a killer piece as Emzin tries to find something through the smoke, not able to get anything in the spray down. Creeds back in that corner. Just going to be looking at that misplay. Got to shake it off really effectively. Go back to what you know. NLS, he's been winning out pretty well in these duels. Dabaku coming in, trying to force his way through and forces the duel out, but NLS is not shy on this one. Confidence not rattled after that last loss against Emzin, and now they're going for the push.
Yeah, it's a big stack over on the A-bomb side right now from Penta. SV headed towards B. This could be the correct gamble for them right now, and they don't even have to do anything on the B side as they just wipe the floor with all the players.
Once they got the 4 push stacked underneath and NLS went down, that was basically the gatekeeper.
This is danger time now, though, for Penta. 8 rounds for Super Valiant. They're very close to closing out map number 1, and it seems as though they've started to get a bit of a second wind in their sails after having those 2 clutch rounds out from Emzin. That one just there was a very, very straightforward one for Super Valiant.
Well, Moon and Snox have been dominating this mid-control, and I think what Super Valiant have realized is just give up on this battle. Don't try and challenge this because it's not really been working for them. They've been going wide, they've been going underpass. This time it looks like they are going to try and challenge it though, so they've got to get at least an even trade here, Penta, I feel, to try and pick up the round because they've just been losing out. When it comes to even numbers, it hasn't been working out for them. FaZe gets himself the setup, gets a peek across, Snox gets himself a quick double, and NLS comes in to clean up on such a vital round there. Danger of letting the game slip away. It's still 8-6. They've got a lot of work to do.
right now, it's really just a matter of them being able to shut down N9 early. The rounds that they're winning on this global risk half are the times they've taken him out with only just one frag or less. But N9, I still have to give him credit here. He stepped up big time, and he's mainly the reason that SV has such a strong presence this half. But it is just going to be a 1-for-1 on to N9 to start it out.
Again, unable to get that mid-control, unable to push through, and that's something that Penta did, and Super Valiant kind of gave up on. WQ getting taken down. Emzin spread down to absolute nothingness. Flash goes out, goes for a second repeat. Emzin tries to bash away from there. And now in a 4-on-3 advantage. You know, if you look at hit points, it's close to a 4-on-2 as well, but don't write Emzin off even though he's got no hit points.
No, certainly a little bit too early to write him off, given what we've seen from him so far. But he's going to need to do a little bit more in this round. Somebody from SV needs to step up and peg their way back into this round in particular. Otherwise, Penta are themselves going to start to peg their way back into the map. Going to 8-7, certainly a lot better than 9-6. NLS does get rid of Emzin. Able to trade things out there, but needs a little bit more, and he won't be able to get it as Snox closes it out with a double kill. 8-7 now. And Penta just a hair's breadth away from Super Valiant once more.
We're having a 2-round swing back and forward here, which, if you were to look at the scores, would mean Super Valiant will close it out now, but Penta need to correct that. Maybe switch things up. They've been a little lucky, I would feel, with Super Valiant challenging out that mid a couple of times and NLS being caught out. Managing to catch WQ down. He's been able to basically do anything in the last couple of games. That grenade catching Snox and Moon, so they're realizing that's where the danger play is coming from, that mid battle, the spray down working in their favor, as well as you see the hit points of Penta dropping ever so rapidly as Snox down to nothingness. Grenades go in, again, not quite able to find their mark, but they're doing enough damage that it's forcing Penta to rotate.
It's a dangerous looking round right now for Penta as SV, they're biding their time over towards the A bomb site, but sooner or later they will be making their inroads. And with so many low HP players on Penta, you just have to think war of attrition is going to favor Super Valiant at this point.
Okay, they're set up for this one. I was just looking at number 5. He's just back into position. He was perfectly in position, Creed's there, in that back corner, because expecting them to come around. We can see them stacking up an A site. Of course, they have next to no information based off footsteps, but Emzin and N9 are the guys that are going to be impactful here as they come around. You can see 18 and WQ stacking up. That nade does bounce in, gets Snox down. That's going to be the go signal effectively, but it's almost the go signal for FaZe as he tries to go aggressive and challenge that, trying to really bite back at them. The flashes come in. FaZe flashed out, going to back around the side. Emzin spotted by Creeds, but unable to get himself a frag there as he tries to peek around. They too go aggressive. Creeds does get in there. It's a fairly even trade, but now you see Super Valiant coming out on top as Creeds finds himself another. Goes aggressive, catches a glimpse on 18 here. A vital duel between the two as WQ comes back in. Now they have the 2-on-1 numbers. They have the peak stack, and there we go. 18 and WQ double challenge and make it map point.
Felt like that round lasted longer than it should have. Super Valiant just never really pulling the trigger. They did have a couple of players, Emson, go into the actual site, but the guys in mid were a little bit late to follow up on that. Still, the round goes the way of SV, and now we're at 9-7. Penta needs these last two to keep themselves alive in map number 1, put us through to overtime. But Super Valiant, point, N9 just comes up with 2 kills like that, and that might just seal the deal.
What a time to wake up. We were talking about it. We've been harping on about N9 not doing anything all tournament long, but it doesn't matter when he wakes up in the finals and gets himself a couple of kills. That is going to be the final round, and the map will go to Super Valiant. 10-7 the first round. Solid performance overall as they take map number 1, and of course Black Widow being map number 2. You now got to look towards a potential 2-0 for the Chinese champions.
Yeah, definitely a tall order now here for Penta. I mean, they looked good in that match on Mexico, but they just didn't have enough. It seemed like Super Valiant, it got to a certain point there where they were like, you know what, we're not going to mess around anymore. Emson picked up those 2 clutches. I think that was the deciding factor. Once he got those, Super Valiant, something seemed to change in them, and they came away with so many easy rounds off the back of that. Yes, there was a little bit of a fight back from Penta for couple of rounds there, but really after those clutches from Emson, it always seemed like Super Valiant was inevitably going to close out that first map.
That's the round we got to look at, right? We said it at the time. It was such a close point, but they had that 2-on-1 advantage, and it was Creeds and NLS, and then Emzin in that corner, and they both double peak, double challenge, and Emzin came out on top. There were rounds that really kind of happened, and it was actually a 3-on-2 before that. They took WQ down, didn't they? They had an even trade, but when you lose rounds like that, it's always in the back of your mind. NLS actually did very well after that, after losing out that duel, but they kind of lost confidence on A site, I think it's safe to say, after that, and they were just constantly pressured there. No time did they go for B site, not once.
And it looks like we are going to take a look at some of these clips here, but as we can see, PENTA, they had a very confident early start, but in that second half, N9, he stepped up and they just crumbled.
Butchered in the back there, and of course, we did see PENTA have themselves, they got this 4-2 lead, right, and then they gave it up. Suddenly they're thinking, okay, this is a really good half start for them. And then it went away from them, away from them, stepping slowly but surely and swinging to that 5-4 advantage for Super Valiant as we got into the second half. But this is where I felt PENTA certainly had a better defensive setup. They really dominated that mid-control, certainly sort of set themselves up and actually prevented, if anything, Super Valiant. They just gave up going there in the end and started spreading around the side, going through underpass, going around to the left-hand sides. And the left-hand side was where they started to get their wins. And this was the 2v1 where Emzin should not have won.
Absolutely not. And then the subsequent round, which we're now seeing, is the one which SV kind of cleaned up fairly comfortably. So from that point onwards, it really seemed like I said, SV was going to be able to come away with the map regardless. Now, that kind of puts PENTA in a bit of a difficult position now. They have obviously already won one map against SV today, but we're not going to be seeing that map in this best of 3. We're in fact going to be moving over to what, on paper, is potentially one of SV's best maps in Black Widow. A very tall order for PENTA to come back into this now. If they're able to do that, Subbase does remain as the 3rd map in the pool, which has caused some issues in the past for Super Valiant. So there is that small semblance of hope really for PENTA, but they have to get through Black Widow first, and yeah, difficult.
And let's talk about Black Widow. It is going to be a blacklist start for PENTA, so they're going to be on the attack. But this is very much home soil for Super Valiant. This is predominantly the Chinese map. It's not even Super Valiant. Everybody in China is experts on this map.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at PENTA's performance today as well, they definitely had some struggles earlier on Black Widow against Flipside. They gave up 8 rounds against the team that went out first, so definitely opens up, I think, a big opportunity for SV to once again in a grand final take it by a sweep.
Yep, definitely not going to disagree there. I think even for Super Valiant, they looked pretty good on Black Widow in that last match that we watched against XQ, so they should be feeling fairly comfortable coming into this one here. Now, obviously, it wasn't their best performance. Obviously, that was on Ankara, but regardless, it still feels to me like Black Widow is going to be a fairly decent map here for Super Valiant. I mean, PENTA, it's what they've got ahead of them, you know, so they can't really just back around it or anything like that. It is what it is, and they're going to have to do their best and see if it's going to be enough to push us through to map number 3.
Like, we shouldn't say, like, you know, PENTA have a chance here. They have a big chance. But it is obviously massively Super Valiant-sided map. But they're no noobs to this. They've played in China in the pro leagues over there. They've, you know, participated against the very best on this map many times before. It's not like something new. They're not coming to this into the unknown.
And there was takeaways for PENTA in that first map as well. Snox was looking really good for the majority of it. So hopefully he's going to be able to take that performance through. He has been looking really, really good today across the board. But PENTA need to step up here. This is their last chance. They're hanging on by a thread. SV, the opportunity for them to 2-0 and again come away with just another title under their belt.
We have the sniper duel back. FaZe and Emzin both on the Elm. Let's see whether they go for the peaks. It does look like they are fairly close to one another, so they may well look for it. Creeds has got to be careful because that's where Emzin is peaking. Emzin back over to long 8, so the rotates come through. Very different start to what we just saw Super Valiant do against XQ.
And also, it is kind of odd to see FaZe playing so passive with that on, but WQ just goes for the no-fear peek with N9, and they're just collapsing in on mid here.
Wow, WQ coming up so big. 2 kills for him. Does get traded back by Snox, but he's managed to peg things back to a 2v2, which makes it look a little bit more favorable than it could have been there for SV. Anchor does get Snox as well. That's the big player off the field for Penta at this point. So far, it's been hanging in the balance this round, but SV do have the advantage. FaZe needs to make something happen over on A here. Needs to win the 1v1 against Emzen.
Oh,
did he hear it?
Just saw him, yeah. Just got a glimpse, has only got that. Sniper goes for the peak, doesn't manage to land it, tries to toss the nade through. Now he's going to get pushed from connector now. Expecting Catwalk, does have a peak, already there. Realizes, okay, time to rotate. There is one coming to his left. He didn't quite catch a glimpse of Anchor. He's going to swing out wide. He hears him and finds him with a deagle. He's got 40 seconds on the clock. What is he going to do? It's the 2 scopes against each other. Emzin switches over to the AK. FaZe switches over to the AK. What is going to happen?
That.
Well, okay.
I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Cheeky from FaZe. Look at that little smile on his face there in a 1v1. And Penta, I would say, won a round they shouldn't have there.
Yep, 2v1. I think Anchor made a bit of a mistake there, not being prepared for the push from FaZe. But it is only 1 round at the end of the day, so nothing to get too concerned about here if you are Super Valiant. Some decent early signs for Penta.
Yeah, and right now I think the big thing to keep in mind here, it is generally a blacklist-sided map, so Penta, they have to win this half if they want any hopes of taking this away. They've got the start, but now they've just got to hold on to it. They've already taken down N9 again, and NLS, he's been on fire so far in this round, takes down another onto WQ.
We should point out, you know, XQ did get 3 rounds of them on the blacklist side, so it's certainly possible as FaZe nails 18 to the wall, and now it's a 5v2. Real big turnaround here. Creeds takes a peek over and finds Emzin. He drops down, and a team ace comes out from Penta there. Not a single touch of damage from Super Valiant that time round.
Yeah, much different round to the first, but Super Valiant, again, still should not be particularly concerned. 2 rounds, early days. Penta this time a little bit more presence over towards A long. Not something that they have necessarily explored too much, particularly early in the rounds. But is Super Valiant going to be ready for it?
WQ is about to come peeking and be very surprised. He finds FaZe, and suddenly, oh, they don't expect N9 there, I don't think.
Well, they haven't checked it, that is for sure, though it is a fairly common spot to hold. Penta eventually have spotted him out, but he gets some damage down. 2 kills, in fact, for N9. As FaZe and Creeds are dropped. Buys the time for the rotations, but he doesn't need it. 4 kills for N9 in that round, and, well, we were talking about how N9 has been quiet. He did step up there at the late stages of Mexico, and already here on Black Widow, being a force to be reckoned with.
And that's really what Penta has to be afraid of here. N9 playing to his best really just gives SV the momentum to play how they want to. They generally just collapse around N9's picks, and again, he's already got a double kill.
Well, just like that, what looks so good. Well, FaZe finds N9, but now he's getting pressured from every single direction. Look at them all coming round. Oh, he's going to bounce the flash around the corner. Gets high, caught himself. You can see what he was trying to do, but it didn't work. It didn't work. It's 2-2.
Points for trying.
There was an attempt, I believe, as the Reddit that he needs to go to. Super Valiant. 2-2 the scores should be, not 3-1, as the scores is showing at the moment. That will get corrected. There you go. So we talked about it, and we spotted N9. It's not, I mean, you say it's a standard position, but it's not a standard position when out of their defensive positions. N9 is normally the aggressor.
Yep.
They did not expect him there. Normally you'd think Emzin on Catwalk, maybe catch WQ out, which is what they did. So they just thought, yeah, okay, we got the sight. Pops up, gets a spray down and double. That's things that can play in the back of your mind when they have such an open situation like that. And you can tell Penta have definitely slowed down their play. 18 gets found. FaZe pushes on connector. N9 does reply along with Emzin, but it's a quick back and forth as Moon manages to get picked off around the side there. Emzin tries to go for the quick reload. None happens. And this time Penta with a big advantage. 2-on-1. Anchor, the only man to try and go for the retake.
Yeah, he's fairly close to the bomb site though, so he's a quick rotate. Doesn't matter though. NLS too quick on the draw. Penta another round on the board for them. And Emson just missing a couple of crucial shots on the catwalk. Had he hit another one of those with the sniper, that could have been a very different round.
Yeah, and I think Emson, he's going to be the key factor here on this map. For some reason, when he's up against Penta, he doesn't seem to play as confident with that arm. I almost think he should go back to using that AK like we saw in Mexico. Right now, it is already an early 5v4 for Penta, so they do have a nice advantage to hold on to. 18 already be taken down.
I feel like the fast aggression that Super Valiant have been trying that worked so well against XQ is not playing dividends at the moment against Penta. They have been fighting for control of this connector. You think of 18, absolutely dominant against XQ, smashing that connector play. This time it seems Penta once again pushing through. Emzin's going to get challenged out. This time he has the AK in the hand though, as he peeks around, gets himself one, NLS trades. Out comes WQ, gets himself a couple around the side there, and he's going to be FaZe trying to push in around the side. He's chasing N9 down, but he's going to back away. And now, Bomb Plant can come in here, or it's just going to go for the rotate. This FaZe is going to go for him. It's a foot race right now. They're both going to cross each other at double doors. It's a snipe through doors, not going to work out. FaZe actually coming off worse there in the taps. And now N9's going to be coming on a retake situation. FaZe will get the plant down. Now where is he going to hold this one? It's going to be a straight open challenge. Sees the nade come round, and N9. So clever.
Well, this is so tough for N9 now, though, because FaZe has had plenty of time to go anywhere. He could literally be anywhere, and N9 has got no idea. He has so many angles to check, and FaZe, look at this rotation that he's pulling off. If N9 just hits the bomb defuse right now, that's the round over. But obviously, that's not something that you're going to be doing in a scenario like this, so he's going to try and draw the peak out. FaZe, nice. So well played, right around the back, and N9 had no idea.
And that was just outgaming each other, right? Because N9 tried to do the same and go around the world and come back around the back. And then FaZe says, you know what? I'm going to do that as well. I'm just going to follow you all the way around there. Very ballsy, like you say. Worked out for them. 4-2. Penta got to keep this momentum going, though. They are on the blacklist. They have the advantage. And they need to make sure, in this exact same situation at 4-2 up like they were in Mexico, that they don't throw it away.
They're doing a great job of holding on here already, taking down N9. That is a big factor to go their way. N9, he's been the top fragger of the half for SV, but WQ, he's going to get a bit fearless here. Only gets one out of the process as well.
Well, that leaves Emson in a pretty sticky situation, but not for too long, as he is dropped very quickly.
Now already 5-2 on the board, and this is starting to look a little bit like Port again here for the likes of Penta. So that third map potential definitely on the table now as FaZe already takes down N9 once again.
5-2 with a man advantage. Penta in the driving seat right now. They are one map down though, so they have to pick this one up. NLS and a duel there from range against Emzin.
Probably not one you want to be taking with a rifle against a sniper. Although Emson has been a little bit shaky throughout this map so far, so maybe there is some sense in it. Anchor though, big job to do, and NLS will dispatch of him quite easily. Moon gets the second frag onto WQ, who was looking for the trade, and it is looking like a fairly straightforward entry into the site there for Penta.
Well, tries to go for the peek and trade, but sadly doesn't work out for him, and 18 now in a 1v3. Gonna peek around the side. He's got Moon behind the boxes. He's going to look towards one. Draws out the fire. Creed's, of course, in corner. And really an unwinnable situation, or well, it should be. 6-2. Okay, decent score building for Penta here. If they can keep this going in the final round, it will be massive.
Yeah, the question for me is 3 enough for SV? Even if they do get this last round of the half, are they going to have enough to come back into the second? But WQ, 18. And Anchor just decided to take matters into their own hands.
Whoa.
Hasn't worked out too well as NLS and FaZe answer back.
That was brutal start to the round. Very aggressive from both teams. No holding back for either. And that's very ballsy play, I would say, from Super Valiant there, trying to catch them off guard. But Penta, they've seen this time and time again. They must have studied Super Valiant so many times on this map to figure out exactly how and where they've been going wrong. And it seems they've made some really very good adjustments. Emzin and N9, who's woken up here in the finals, has a lot of work to do still in the 3v2, but don't rule them out. Emzin on the hunt as they catches them off guard, gets one, sees Creed to the left, FaZe to the right, shot just lands wide. He will go down to FaZe now, and N9 comes in, and Creed finds him, and it is a 7-2 half. Massive, massive, massive rounds from PENTA. They have themselves a really big lead here going into the global risk side.
Is it enough? That's my question. Is it enough?
Honestly, I think it is.
I think it is. Honestly, you look at the XQ game, XQ Intense versus them, they took it close, I would say, a number of times on Global Risk. It's certainly doable. Obviously, you would think PENTA are on slightly higher level than XQ Intense, so from that point of view, and you can see on their faces, big smiles. They know they've given themselves a real chance here, and they're playing confidently.
Well, and now they have to be looking ahead, and this map being winnable means sub-base could be on the horizon, which gives PENTA a really good opportunity to bring this one into a map 3 where they could actually take this one away if they're able to close out Black Widow. But SV, notorious for bringing back a huge deficit. They've done it before, and now they have a chance to do it again, and this is really a map that they could do it on. Emzin going back onto that AWM. He wants to challenge FaZe here, but he definitely needs to be careful. FaZe has been consistently outclassing him in these 1v1s.
Yeah, and SV, they basically need to start this second half off with a good round. So far, hasn't really worked out the way they would have wanted. NLS getting the first frag. Emzin goes down, WQ at least able to trade back, and NLS was in a good position, but he's taken out by 18. So now, favorable for Super Valiant as they make the trades work.
Yeah, connected clear, Moon down, now they're going to push. Snock's still alive though. And look at this little backstab coming out. Who's that? Number 5. Comes creeping round. There's one down long A as well. So Snox has pushed down long A. They won't be expecting him quite so much, but Creed's that's on the sneak around the back here. He needs to get in position quick. Snox goes down. That's long A open. Faces on his own. Now Creed needs to move. While it was a really sneaky move before, now it's put his team in a desperate situation, and that surely will be the round for Super Valiant. And a 4-on-1. Creeds comes from Catwalk. They know exactly where he is as he finds Zank. There's going to be the flash. He's got a buy time. Still 34 seconds. They need to go for the peek. Oh my word, WQ almost goes down, gets a second peek, and the last 18 will finish the job. But my word, Creedzu went absolutely ham in the first winner bracket match. Looked like he was going to do it again. 7-3 the score.
Perhaps a little bit too close for comfort there for Super Valiant, but a round nonetheless, and a much needed round as well as they put themselves onto 3. Still a big job to do for them. Massive mountain to climb to get back into this second map. They do have the one map buffer already, so it will not be the end of the world should they lose this one. However, it would be a lot of momentum for PENTA heading into the third map sub-base if they close this one out with a fairly reasonable scoreline.
Very aggressive pushing over on B side actually, which is trying to give them a position here. NLS once again comes forward. Creeds is going to get himself a double, and Super Valiant find themselves down to 1. WQ the last man. Creeds is going off. Moon comes in, and now at 8-3, they have themselves a real chance to close this game out. They're confident. The smiles are on. The body language is all good for PENTA.
And right now, SV, this is their chance to try and get back in it before it's too late here on Black Widow. Sub-base on the horizon for PENTA, but SV, it's not over yet. With their backs against the wall, they've been such a strong team in the past. It'd be a shame to see them slip so devastatingly here on Black Widow, a map that I rarely see them fall on, but FaZe continues to abuse them, already finding a pick on 18.
Again and again and again, PENTA, the ones to find the initial pick, and so often it is FaZe to do it. I mean, that's his first pick of the second half, but in the first half, he was really just doing so much work for PENTA. Super Valiant down another player once more. Now 2, this is looking dangerous. Moon with a double kill. Does decide to take the peek onto WQ, and he will be traded out by Snox. 1v4 for Emzin. It's a almost impossible task for him.
I'm marking down the round already, unless Emzin pulls off a miracle, because Super Valiant, they lost 10-3 earlier on, and they're looking close to doing the same once again on their home turf. What is going on here? It went so close on Mexico. 10-7 the score there. Emzin peeks around. 1 in the 1 with what is going on here? How did he just get those 2 flick shots? Surely this is not possible. He's got FaZe to his left. He's not seen him. He's behind the box. He's waiting for Creeds to come in. This is clever play from PENTA. They wait and wait and wait and come at the same time. And FaZe pick up the round.
I'm almost disappointed that he doesn't pick up the round there, because that was going to be probably the best thing I've actually seen if he clutches that out. 1v4 with those 2 first shots. Boy, oh boy. Regardless, though, Penta now on map point.
Absolutely. NLS has been crucial. He's been really well playing throughout this. Moon, of course, in connector has been working well. They are actually going to finally challenge out the B site, it seems. Hasn't really touched over that way too much. 18 finds Moon going to a little too aggressive down mid there. I think they realized, I think that was maybe a miscall from Penta, realizing they were pushing B, trying to get an aggressive backstab and just pushing a little too soon. MC's going to float his way through, gets onto Creed, and Super Valiant don't write them off just yet as NLS gets an instant reply.
Yeah, Penta with a one-player disadvantage. Snox goes down so quickly to N9. Well, thought that Snox was going to be the one to peg that back for Penta, but not the case this time. It's a 2v4. NLS and FaZe with the job to do. Now just FaZe. As N9 starts to get involved, double Q, perfectly placed grenade. Will be able to take down FaZe.
I believe that's what's known as a Kobe in the business, when you dunk someone like that badly. 9-4 though, Penta still on map point. One round down, of course, after losing out on Mexico 10-7. If you've just joined us, the final map will be sub-base if we require it, which it looks like we may well do unless something miraculous turns around and Penta claps worse than the Liverpool defense. 18 pushing through on Snox. NLS, oh, he gets to peek around the side. He doesn't manage to get N9 down, who hasn't really woken up on this map. Did certainly perform very well on Mexico. Anchor himself has been struggling as well, but we're seeing Super Valiant maybe start to get themselves woken back up. I mean, does it really take it to go to map point to get themselves back in the game, to wake up? Can they do this?
It's definitely possible, especially with N9 these past couple rounds. He's definitely stepped up. He was at 0 when it became 8-3, I believe. So he's finally able to put things together. But Creed's, he's locking things down, but does finally go down here.
Oh, FaZe, just the last man down, and it's another Kobe. Tabba Q, 2 rounds running, dunking like a pro.
Yeah, doing
Look at the
good
smile
work
on his face, like,
yeah,
again.
Just a cheeky grin. But 5 rounds now for Super Valiant, 2 very comfortable rounds in a row. You ask the question, has Super Valiant woken up? Finally, well, perhaps the answer is yes. Double Q, he checks the angle, but he doesn't actually see Moon, so this is big. Moon does finally decide that he wants to take down Double Q, which is the correct decision. There was no one coming behind Double Q there. Pulls it back to a 3 versus 3, and Double Q, you know, just caught napping a little bit there, and he needed to fully check that angle.
Another nade kill. What is going on? 3 rounds running, we're seeing people dropping to the nades. Seemingly on point, but it's a 3-on-3. Snox goes down, Anchor pushes through, and he's woken up as well in the last few rounds. He hadn't got any kills until now, suddenly on 3. FaZe!
Great shot.
That's just dirty. Moon gets flashed out heavily. N9 follows it through perfectly, and Anchor gets onto FaZe, and now 3 rounds back-to-back unanswered.
And 3 rounds the difference.
Can they do this? Can they? If they take this to overtime, you've got to feel Penta are just giving up hope, because they had such a huge lead. I mean, they have to close it out.
Yes, they can do it. We've seen them do it before. They've come from such long deficits that you think, okay, surely this map is not going to be possible for Super Valiant, but then they come away and win in overtime. It's still a possibility here for Super Valiant. Obviously, Penta, 1 round away. 1 round is all they need. But so far, Super Valiant in those last few rounds have looked very, very good.
I do think Emzen made a crucial mistake, though, in this round. The AK was working well, but now he's going back to try and challenge the sniper duel, and I think it could come back to bite them here. They had the momentum going for them, and now they're getting a little overconfident maybe by making this decision, but they have slowed the pace down as well. They're still looking for that opening pick, but Penta, they've turtled up. They know they need to put the pressure on SV in this round and not give any risky picks over to SV.
So they went for the long A peak. They had a clean angle on it, effectively, because you can see Snox there in the defensive position. He's way around there, but they've decided, whatever reason, whoever scouted and saw an opening decided to completely rotate. And they're actually rotated into a 3-man stack of Penta here.
Yeah, and this is the forward hold that Penta is so good at. This time, not working out nicely at all. 18 and 9. Getting a kill apiece, and N9 knows the position of the final player on the site. FaZe hiding behind the box for dear life. He does go down. The rotation comes across from Moon and Snox, but it's not going to be enough. There's just too many SV players, and they lost too much over on the B site too early. And SV claw away with another one.
From 9-3 to 9-7. Nerves seem to be showing here. The choke is coming in strong, it seems, from Penta. Snox goes looking from super confident plays to really very passive, almost rolling over and playing dead like a dog with the legs in the air. Not too sure what is going on here. Super Valiant, they have the bit between their teeth, and they do not want to give up on this one. We're not seeing any early openings from Penta this time like we have been. Those early peaks, the confident peaks effectively, as they stack up once again for another B hit.
Right now they need to be careful though. Creeds, he's peeking this wide angle, but he's not gonna find anyone. N9 just going ham there on the execution.
What do? N9 just walks in and gets 2 kills on the B site, opens things up. SV have now got the bomb down. It's a 3v5 for the retake. Penta, this round, one would have to imagine, is going to go the way of SV.
Yeah, and then suddenly we're at 1 point away from a round draw. What in the world is going on? Emzin takes Moon down with that sniper. Now Snox, he's going to get dropped, and FaZe will go down as he tries to just run in some superhero defuse mode. It is 9-8 from 9-3. This is incredible. 5 rounds unanswered. You said it's not impossible, and by God, they're doing it. Penta have absolutely choked right now.
Ordinarily, I would say it's not possible, but this is SV, and they have done it before. They've done it multiple times before, and they're the best team in the world for a reason. Even if this does go to 10-8, that still denies any kind of momentum for Penta heading into map number 3, which in and of itself could be a big deal.
Another thing to look at too, I mean, when it was 9-3, N9 had 0 kills. He's already on 10. He's getting 2 kills around, and that's really a huge momentum boost for SV, surely when they needed it most here. And now they have that potential to take this into overtime and close it out still with a 2-0 sweep.
Impact kills as well. They're not just kills at the end of the round once the round has been decided. It's 2 kills on the entry on the B bomb site. So massive stuff coming out from him.
And conversely, on the other side, Snox, who's been the man for Penta, is on 2-7. So he has not woken up. He's been in that connector role, and it's just not working out for him at the moment. Him and Moon been trading places, and you can see it's another long A peak this time. Emzin, who's been using that for a couple of rounds, looking for FaZe. FaZe not to be found at the moment. He's sitting on the catwalk, and now we're going to be in A site. He's way deep, in fact. There's nobody in A site at the moment. They're all way in towards connector. Now we're seeing him coming around. FaZe about to peek. That could be a perfect little peek around the side. Some sort of information. FaZe hops back around, so he kind of almost faked out the peak there, and it slowed them down, and now everybody's in position. FaZe going to try and hold the angle. Can he get the opening pick? No, he can't, and that may well be crucial.
Yeah, a lot of flashbangs coming in his direction, and SV, they've managed to get their way into the site. Oh, look at this. N9 and 18. Emzin as well getting involved, and it's a 1 versus 3 here for Moon. Slow on the rotate. His teammates are all dead. Super Valiant should well be pushing this one through to overtime, and indeed they will be. Anchor, the one to find the kill. 9 apiece is where we are at. And who would have thought that we would get here? Well, I'm going to answer that and say, I did.
Well, supreme focus on the faces of Super Valiant there. Meanwhile, Penta, who were all smiles at half-time, are very much shell-shocked, it seems to me.
How do you come back from that as well? You know, you've lost 6 rounds in a row to allow it to go through to overtime. That has to be soul-crushing when you know that you should have closed this map out. And this is how Super Valiant just comes back into these kinds of maps.
I mean, at the end of the day, if we were to be, you know, obviously statistically, we would say both teams went 7-2 on the attack, which is fine.
They did.
But
yeah,
the manner in which it worked out at 9-3, you know, is the deciding factor here. That the moral compass that should be in Penta's favor is just took an all-time dive there.
Yep.
And you can see on their faces, like these guys were all happy smiles, everybody's super happy, everything's going well. Even after losing Mexico, really, they were just like, okay, it was close, we know we've got a chance. And now suddenly it's like, what the hell just happened, guys? Like that, I mean, the nerves were clearly showing there. You know, they had a 9-3. It's like, okay, just keep going the way we are. Somewhere, whether it was a shout, whether it was a call, whether it was a, okay, play cautious, play steady, oh, hold your positions, hold defensive. We don't know. We didn't hear the comms, of course, but whatever happened, it basically turned things on the head. And now Penta have to basically think, okay, All right, Penta on the attack here. So did they get choose to attack? And normally they would just carry on straight on towards the global risk side. It's a pretty even trade at the moment. Emzin, though, absolutely gunning them down along with 18 and N9. And Super Valiant seem to be picking up where they left off.
Yeah, and that's bad news for Penta because the majority of those rounds did come on blacklist, not global risk. So for SV to start off with a round, which in theory this one should be converted into, that's very good coming into the overtime. 1 out of 3 is about as good as you could probably hope for, actually, considering the way that the regulation time did go, 7-2.
You can already see SV coming in for the hunt here. FaZe shouldn't have much of an opportunity. N9 shuts it down. That's already around on the board for SV in overtime. That's 7 straight rounds, though, for SV, and that is a big statement for them moving forward here.
MR3, remember, here in overtime. Super Valiant take it. They are the winners of the Intel Extreme Masters in Katowice. And of course, if Penta can pull it off, we will be going to map number 3. FaZe gets himself the opener, and that's a crucial one. N9 going down, who's been such a huge player for Super Valiant in this comeback. They stream on, they take that confident charge absolutely like they need to. They have to pick themselves up a minimum of 2 rounds here, as Moon will take Dabaku down, Emzin picked off, and 18 will fall. It is a team ace for Penta. Just what the doctor ordered, but is it too late? 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, even if they get the 2 rounds here, we saw how strong SV was on their own blacklist side. They might have needed 3.
Right now, I think it is going to be Penta able to pick up this round. They have to at this point if they want to hold on to this map. But honestly, in this situation, I think this could be a potential where we see a tie in overtime here. Penta does pick up the round, but Emzin, he's already got a great start here for SV.
And no sniper in the hands of FaZe this round, so they're relying on the full AKs. He's lurking around on the A-bomb side on his own, has been spotted out, and that's going to nullify the effectiveness of that position, and he has to rotate back to his teammates, get out of there, try and regroup. But a 4v5, SV, like you said, have started off this round well, this time courtesy of Emzin, and it's up to Penta to claw their way back into it, or it could just be a 2-0 for SV in the final.
Well, this connector play could be crucial. N9, it looks like he actually is about to drop down. He's holding back. Creed's gonna nade it out. Okay, does drop down. Realizes connector is compromised. Dabaku's coming around the side though, and they're not going to be looking towards him. You can see they're picking around. It's causing them pause for thought as N9 comes back around. Snox is caught in this firefight with Ant. Creed's manages to take him down, and now Emzin 18 and N9 already in defensive position. They have to rotate away from this, I would say. Give up on the A site, get over to B, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, N9 coming across on the rotate, but it's 18. Player to watch, rotating around the back.
He's in their spawn, he's back around the side, and Moon realizes it, and that's a real tricky position to try and flush someone out of. N9, if he peeks around and finds Creeds early, it could be crucial. Does manage to get one down, looks for the spy, he gets himself a second, and Moon on absolutely nothing now in a 2-on-1 situation, and if this goes 2-1 to Super Valiant, you've got to start thinking it may well be all over, as Super Valiant could pick themselves up the 2 defensive rounds.
I wonder if they know that Moon is that low. I suspect not, otherwise Emzin probably swaps out to a rifle here. Doesn't necessarily need that, or either that or he just swaps over to his pistol. It's only going to take 1 shot.
Emzin sees him, Emzin catches him, doesn't matter, the shot comes from 18, who was all the way back at spawn. And would you believe it, 2 rounds on the global risk side for Super Valiant. It's theirs to win.
Yep, 2 rounds is all they need. Moving into the second half of overtime. And Penta Sports, they're going to be thinking, how have we let it get to this point? All we needed was 1 more round.
And that's really where SV shines, though. N9 and Anka stepping up under the pressure in that regulation just really led to the success here, and they've carried that into overtime, winning 2 rounds in 3 when they won 2 rounds in the first regulation half. So they've really stepped it up here, and that's going to put all of the pressure on to the guys of Penta at this point. They have to do something incredible that we didn't really see from their global risk half going into this overtime half for themselves. They really have to be thinking what they can do differently, because they only got 2 rounds to 7 on their global risk half.
They need players like FaZe in the middle there. They need players like Snox, who was dominant on Mexico, dominant earlier on Port. They need their stars right now. to do something for them, do something incredible, because they really should be onto sub-base by now. We should be already talking about it. We
should be already in the game.
We
really.
should already be in the game and ready to go, but we're not. We're here. It's extra time. MR3 and Super Valiant with the 2 defensive rounds now start off as they finish. NLS goes down as they pile on through. Emzin gets another. Moon gets fouled, and Super Valiant are playing confidently.
What can you do here if you are Penta Sports? 2 players already picked, and SV going to be, in theory, putting themselves onto match point if they do pick up this round. Started off well. All they have to do is convert this into round number 12.
Right now, it's really going to be about this B hold. They still have everyone on site for Penta, so they've read this well and should have a chance to hold it, but still a 2-man down situation is going to make this difficult. And Emzin, he's already looking to potentially prepare some sort of flank or push to distract them here as well, so really need to be careful in this situation. But if you wanted anyone alive here for Penta, you've got Snox, FaZe, and Creed, so it's still winnable for them if they can play their cards right here. But as you can see, SV, they've read this quite well, and they're going to try and rotate their way over to A.
And they're gone. They're done. Penta, they got no choice but to hold this point. They can't rotate until that bomb plant comes in. They sit with a 3-man hold, and now they're going to have a 3-man rotate against 5 members of Super Valiant. They need something heroic here in the first attacking round for Super Valiant. 18 in the corner. They have every angle covered. Ank around the side. Emzin in there. 18 pops down. He makes it a 4-on-2. Ank just behind the window. Snox is coming to peek, but the footsteps will give himself away. Going to try and flash him out there. Doesn't go for it. Tries to push through the smoke. Instead's going to see if he can get the drop down. Anybody going to peek? Dabba-Q up the side. N9 swings around. He gets taken down by 1. Snox gets himself maybe a second. Dabba-Q, like you say, the time is not really with him. And it is going to be Super Valiant that get themselves their 3rd round in overtime. 1 more will be enough to make them champions here in Katowice.
Not far away now for Super Valiant, but in saying that, Penta, it's only 2 rounds that they need to push us through to, well, just a little bit more here on Black Widow, but starting off okay. 2-for-2 trade, definitely could be worse, definitely could be what we had in the last round, which was a 2-for-0 in the favor of Super Valiant, and now a player advantage for Penta, courtesy of Creeds. Emzin and Dabba-Q. Again, it's these 2 all the time. When there's 2 left for Super Valiant, it seems to be them. Now it's just 1. Dabba-Q, 1v3. It's a tough ask.
Well, it's certainly not beyond the realms of possibilities, but Moon will take him down. A breather for Penta. A small glimmer of hope. Can they take it to double overtime? Or will it be all over? Super Valiant on the attack once again. They need the early picks. They need some early look. Snox was aggressive in that last round, which is where the 2 came from, and you could see Super Valiant switching it up, expecting the aggression almost.
So far, though, Penta, they are playing this quite well. They've got 2 players already pushing for information out of B and 3 on A. Penta, they should be able to hold this, but they have to be careful. Emzin's already found 1, and this could be it.
FaZe has got the AK. He's ready to peek. He gets around the side, gets himself a triple spray down, and that may well be enough to give Penta a reprieve, as 18 is the last man standing. Where this double overtime has come from, God only knows, because I don't think they deserved it.
Well, surely this is not possible for 18. He gets flashed out there as well, just buying a little bit more time for Penta. Gives away his position with a couple of spammy shots. Doesn't even have control of the bomb, so everything is in the favor of Penta right now. All they need to do is close this one out. Make sure they don't drop it. He's got a tag across there, but still survives.
And now this really begs the question, who can take it away? And I believe it does just go to a golden round in this situation for double overtime, which would just be a single round to decide this. So this is going to be a tough one. I mean, it's really going to come down to, I think, who can get their more favored side here. But I mean, as we saw in overtime, both teams got 2 rounds on the global risk side, which is not really what we expected there.
Yeah, it's a toss-up, really.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so who's on the attack, who's on the defense? That's the question, right? But they've both just picked up 2 global risk rounds. Would you take that, or would you go on the attack, which is certainly more favorable? It is a golden round, which is effectively 1 round And of course, we could be going to a third map
Yep.
if PENTA would take it, or all over the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice Expo champions. The Invitational here, you can see there's the trophy. Will it be in Super Valiant's hands in just one round?
It's really a coin flip at this point, isn't it? You know, even once we know who's on what side, I mean, I would probably favor Blacklist, but it's too close to call. After that many rounds, no one's been able to get an advantage. I feel like it's unfair to even call a team to come away with a victory here in a round like this.
Yeah, it's really something that can go either way, and I actually think the opposite. I think Global Risk has the advantage here because you don't have to be the first to make your move, and when you just have one round, you can afford to play safe if you're on that Global Risk side. The Blacklist side, they have to attack at some point, and that's really going to be pretty nerve-wracking when the entirety of the map decides on it. And honestly, for SV, the tournament decides on this. They have the potential to fall on sub-base if they don't win this here, and that's a scary thought for them.
PENTA, they need to just think on the overtime. Think on the 2 rounds they just brought back. Forget what happened in full time. 9-3 up. And now we find ourselves in the golden round. They'll absolutely kick themselves later tonight if they were to lose it. But here we go. Fist bumps all round as we get themselves into the game. 1 round is all that's between Super Valiant and victory.
All right, so Super Valiant is going to be on Global Risk. That means PENTA will be the ones to choose when they take the engagements.
Looks like they are just going to throw the quick fake B and send everybody here over towards A. Definitely a good pick from PENTA, but it's all going to be down to SV and how they can lock down this push. They've already got MZin and 18 in position to challenge these players on the cross, so now it's just all about the hold.
He sees him coming. MZin gets the nade out. 18 peeks, gets himself one. Finds Snox, looks around. Creeds will take him down. It's a 1-for-1 trade. The rest of the team on the rotate, but Ant comes in. They start picking him off back and forward. It's down to a 3-on-3. Creeds and Moon on absolutely no health at all as the nade rains down on towards MZin, but they get the plant down. Dabaku comes around, finds one. NLS gets a reply. Ang tries to swing out wide, can't find the shot onto NLS. The Dabaku comes in, it's a 1-on-1. Creeds versus Dabaku, neither team have any hit points. The clock is ticking, and Dabaku is going to back away for just a moment. 21 seconds is all he's got. He can't go forward to go around the world here. How's he going to find it? All Creeds has to do is hide. Just get out of there. Hide. Buy yourself time. 11 seconds. 10 seconds. He has to start thinking it's time to go. Creeds comes around him. Creeds finds it. We're going to go to a third map, ladies and gentlemen. PENTA will pick up victory here on Black Widow. We're going to sub-base.
Boy, oh boy, what a map that was. And a little bit bittersweet almost, I think, there for PENTA. Finally, they're able to close it out, but they probably should have been able to do it 20 minutes ago, it feels like. Still, Dabaku, I felt like he kind of gamed himself a little bit there in that clutch.
I mean, Moon picked up a kill when he had, what, 1 hit point?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a trade that's always the danger, right? And while he's only got 1 hit point, he's still got a gun. And if he lands that shot, he's going to get himself a kill. And then you see Creeds in the trade there. And like you say, almost gamed himself. They both almost took each other out. They were both down to, what, 10 hit points max, I would say, between the two. But it's a third map, and it's sub-base. Incredible stuff. What a game. And as you said, you know, from PENTA's point of view, yes, confidence. We took a map, and more importantly, we took Black Widow off them.
Yeah.
But they should have done it at 9-3.
Definitely. I mean, you saw the faces of Super Valiant there as well. They were not looking particularly pleased after that map, particularly WQ. I was having a look at him, and he seemed really unhappy. I mean, he was the one that, in theory, lost the map for them. Now, we don't want to obviously put it onto that one player, but he was in that 1v1 clutch, could have closed it out there for Super Valiant, so he's going to be feeling that weight heading into map number 3. And map number 3 is sub-base, and we've talked about how that was a problem for Super Valiant in the past. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We'll think back on this map here on Black Widow, and it was just really so backwards and forwards towards the end of things, but so one-sided at the start.
There was big plays from both teams, really. I mean, you talked about it. Obviously, the first half very much going PENTA's way. A lot of huge plays from them, picking up kill after kill. And then you conversely go over towards the Super Valiant attack inside on Blacklist. And you mentioned at the time, it was all about N9 waking up.
Well, and the crazy thing there, too, N9, he had such an incredible Global Risk half, but they still didn't get the rounds they needed there, and then felt like on their blacklist half, I mean, even though they had more rounds there, he wasn't necessarily the one making those things happen, and I think he still has to step it up going into this third map, and really SV as a whole has to be prepared for this because PENTA, I think they do have a little bit of an advantage here going into sub base.
Crazy, crazy stuff. And you saw that 9-3 the score, and you just think, well, okay, here we go. We're on to map number 3. We are on to map number 3, but many, many, many moons later, 6 rounds back to back to back for Super Valiant. And then, of course, we clawed our way into overtime and into what was incredible, really, because, you know, what is a blacklist-sided map? Both teams picked up the 2 rounds on Global Risk.
Yeah, it's just... that map went for so long, it feels... It's really hard to kind of wrap up how that map sort of felt because it was just so different across the entirety of it. I mean, I guess PENTA is going to be happy coming away with the victory there, but do they feel disappointed that they weren't able to close it out a little bit faster? I mean, the momentum is no longer necessarily there for them heading into map number 3. There's a lot of questions in my mind heading into sub-base here, and I guess it's not too far away before we get to find out the answers to them.
And you kind of feel it's a bit of a kicker for Super Valiant, right? Because they just made this heroic comeback, you know, epic storylines, come back from 9-3 down and take the victory, to the win taken out of their sails effectively in a straight golden round, and 1v1 in such a tight 1v1 at that.
They've really only got themselves to blame, though. I mean, that last round, that golden round, essentially probably was theirs for the taking. We saw how much damage they were able to do over to those PENTA players. Yes, it was a 3v3, but those guys would have died to a breath of wind, essentially. And again, when you go back to that first half, 7-2, you have to think, well, if SV wanted to win the map, maybe they should have done a little bit better in the first half. So, yep, they'll be disappointed. Yes, they made a good comeback, but realistically speaking, at the end of the day, they didn't do enough. They weren't the better team on map number 2. They're going to have to take that in their stride and be the better map on number 3.
Well, we'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a very short break. When we come back, the third and final map here in Katowice, we'll be ready to go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Expo Katowice here. It is CROSSFIRE, the Invitational. And we are ready and waiting to go. For map number 3, we are moving on to sub-base. If you've just joined us, where the hell have you been? It is going to be Penta versus Super Valiant. We have had an epic golden round in the end, which means, of course, in Crossfire's terms, you have MR9, you get to 9-9, you go to overtime, you fail on the overtime, and you have that one round. And my God, that one round went down to a 1v1 with next to no health for both players. Epic stuff, but we are now on sub-base. And this is Penta territory.
Yeah, I think Penta, they have a lot of strength for them going into this one, but at the same time, they can't go in with that mindset that they've seen these guys fall on sub-base before, so they automatically think they're going to win in this situation. They still have to play confident, but they still have to play smart here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still SV, right? We saw what they can do in that last map, how close it could have been, how close it was, how one-sided it could have been. And I mean, you can never really count SV out. Even though they go down 7-2 in the first half, they still almost come away with a victory on map number 2. Yeah, we're kind of saying, okay, sub-base is potentially a bit of a difficult ask for them. Well, yes, maybe it is the case, but then again, it's Super Valiant, so who knows what they're going to be able to pull out of their hat and show us here on map number 3.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's going to come down to who gets that blacklist side first. We saw 7 rounds for both teams on their blacklist halves on Black Widow, and sub-base is kind of a map that can follow suit there. So I think whoever gets blacklist may actually have a good opportunity to take this one.
Well, I can tell you where it's going. It's going to go the way of these boys on your screen right now. Penta will be starting out on blacklist as they did on the Black Widow map. So they have themselves this potential advantageous start, you would say.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of what they'll do with that now. They have to play confident, and I think they still need to play aggressive as well. We saw how that worked for them in their favor on Port when they weren't afraid to take that early map control on their blacklist halves, and it worked just as well for them on Black Widow on their blacklist half. I mean, we've seen them consistently in regulation dominate SV in their blacklist halves, and if they have that confidence to start this one off, I think they may actually be able to close it out here.
Well, that's a big call. That's a big call going against the world champions 2 times in a row. I'm still going to sit on the coin with Super Valiant. I think I'm, call me a fanboy, but I still think they're the best in the world. And despite the fact that we're going on to sub-base, I still think they've got enough here against Penta. But I'm prepared to be proven wrong. I've already bet my shoes on it once today. Luckily, I was safe in that one. I'm not prepared to bet my shoes on this map, I'll be honest. But I do think that Super Valiant is still going to come away with the victory here. I think it's going to be close, though.
We'll see just exactly how close it is. You can see the players just getting their hand warmers. That's what's in their hands there. You can see just getting themselves set up. Oh, we're going to see some superstars born from this matchup. Oh, we're going to see the Chinese team rocked. Because, of course, you know, we were talking earlier on about jet lag. Now is the time when it'll start to kick in. How are you feeling, Ben? Ben. Can you see Ben back home right now? And we're like,
no, he'd be
Jordan.
Asleep. He'd be asleep. It's probably something like 4 a.m. or
I've been calling you Ben. I keep calling you Ben all day. I don't know why I keep calling you Ben.
Yeah,
you're completely different.
I'm much more attractive.
In case you're unaware, Ben was hosting his Australian compatriot of Jordan, who hosted actually the World Finals, didn't he, this last year? But yeah, how are you feeling? It's got to be pretty late right now.
It's 5:30 in the morning for me.
So for the Chinese guys, this is pretty close as well, right?
It'd be 2:30 in the morning for China. So
all right, maybe gaming hours.
Yeah, well, it's getting a bit late. You know, when I stay up late for when I'm playing games, I generally sort of cut it off at 2 o'clock.
You've also got the adrenaline factor of being on stage, being in a final. So you know, once you stop, you're like.
I was talking to Pepper, and they've actually been here since the 28th of February, so they've been here for a week.
Oh, have they? Okay.
So they should be on this time zone.
There's no jet lag then.
No,
If that's the case, they've been practicing hard for this, it seems. Here we go, though. We are rocking and rolling and live for the final map, sub-base. Here's where we are. Penta on the blacklist attacking side, Super Valiant on the defensive global risk side. We'll see who will come out as the champion.
Starting this one off, though, there's going to be a bit of a contest over here towards the A stairs, but N9 gets a huge triple kill. That's a brilliant way to start it off.
All right. Well, what you can do, we'll try and answer back with, it seems, but Penta not quite got themselves the triple. And N9 is, well, maybe the man to watch. He was a sleeping giant, effectively. A lull asleep. Didn't do a damn thing for the first 2 games, and effectively a good portion of Mexico as well until he woke up, and that's when things started to swing around. Creeds gets himself the opener though as we swing through. N9 does get a quick response. We saw this map earlier on, of course. That went the way of XQ, but they fell to Super Valiant. Will PENTA do the same?
That's the question at this point. It's really up in the air. Emson does get overwhelmed by Snox, and well, we would have expected Emson to actually win that aim duel 9 times out of 10, so that's not a good sign there for SV. But N9 still alive. Did get 4 kills in that first round. Not able to get any in this one. Anchor gets 1, but trade is there for NLS. 2 for him in that one as well. So 1 apiece. PENTA chiming straight back with a round of their own.
Yeah, and right now, PENTA, they've got to win this half. I mean, it's really going to come down to how many rounds these teams can put up on their global risk half. PENTA, they shouldn't be looking this half as a want to win. It's a need to win for them here.
PENTA once again on the attack. Got to get caught. They don't get caught out by that aggression. Anchor going fairly aggressive run B there, going to peek through the smoke, but you can see PENTA stacking up. A site tends to be where they like to angle it, despite the fact we saw XQ going for a B predominantly. PENTA and flip side both have a favor, and it is this site, and well, Super Valiant absolutely know it. Dabaku with the big double, and they have been stopped dead in their tracks at the stairs. FaZe, the last man standing in a 1v3, will go down, and Super Valiant get round number 2.
Not a bad round out from Super Valiant. Again, fairly confident. N9 again getting a kill. 5-1 is where he sits himself, so good start to this final map for Super Valiant. He has the potential to just put this team on his back and run away with the victory if he so desires. Bit of aggression out there.
Yeah, the aggression just catching him completely off guard there. Ank doing a great job, but Snox replies and gets himself a triple. And that's how the aggression can be countered. Emzin all alone now in a 1v3. You've got to assume the round is going against him, but don't rule this man out. Grenade going to come in, catches him in the back. Doesn't do a great deal of damage, but there's the head. And Snox gets himself 4 for the round. Massive. Massive for him, and that's who they need. They need players like Snox to deliver. He was so predominant in the flip side match.
2 big individual plays, one from Snox, one from N9. Both of them star players for their team, and if they're going to go head-to-head in a grudge match here, it's going to be a sight to witness.
Right now, though, the pace has been slowed down a bit from SV. They're not going for these aggressive counter picks anymore. But NLS has just been a monster here over towards A, already finding 1, but he's still not done yet. But N9 able to come through with the trade there.
Tries to get the peak, went for a little too early a reload there. It's a bad habit that FPS players do tend to have, instantly going for that reload as they try and hop, skip it away over towards the B site. Maybe have a peek that away. Rotates in mid. You can see trying to go for that spread. Oh, and Snox spraying through the smoke, finds the head of Emzin somehow. FaZe comes through. 18 gets taken down by FaZe as well. And now once again it's N9 who's left standing. Gets Snox down. Moon and FaZe are both low, so this is not beyond the realms of possibility. But now the bomb plant comes in. It's going to quicken his time.
Oh, he's got a sneaking suspicion that there is a player waiting in the vent. But FaZe just sitting far back enough. Not quite playing the timer as he needed to. Decides to go for a push. N9 comes away with a free kill, and that is how you start to win a 1v3. Turn it into a 2v1. However, the 2v1 does go the way of the 2, and that is PENTA picking themselves up their 3rd round.
They need to keep this up. They need to keep the momentum going. Keep their rain pushing through. Nades raining in, not going to find Ank. He's nowhere near. He's a wise head. FaZe switching back over to the scope, seeing if you can find a pick. And hit by the nade, damage once again. Actually hit through the smoke in the end by Creeds there. He has to back away before he falls to a straight headshot.
It looks like it is just going to be PENTA taking their time here, applying pressure nicely across the entirety of the map. They're just looking for an opening pick here. And still, NLS wants this challenge over towards A bottom, but Dabaku, he's going to play it safe this time around, not looking to go for any sort of aggressive play just yet, but NLS, he wants to go for the repeak.
More of a presence over towards A for PENTA right now. Some late round utilities being thrown out here by Super Valiant. Does keep PENTA at bay, but inevitably PENTA will start to make their way into this site. WQ will have to answer them. He does have the backup of another player behind him. We can see the rotations coming across from Super Valiant. N9 is there now, and it's a 3-player stack over on A for Super Valiant. N9 will be the one that has to do the lion's share of the work, and indeed he will do that. 3 kills come across in his favor. Emsen got 1 as well across the map. Just Creed's left alive now for PENTA, and he's over at B. Anchor finding that out the hard way.
Well, 4v1, you've got to assume this round is going to go the way of Super Valiant, and now we're going to be looking at a 3-3 scoreline. PENTA really need to try and secure themselves an advantage here. Creeds finds 1, that's Anchor going down. He was down next to nothing, and there's still only 30 seconds on the clock, so he's got to get a wriggle on, doesn't have the bomb. Finds a glimpse at 18. MZ gets a little peek, goes wrong way there. Now Creed's down to nothing, he will finally fall. Super Valiant not making the same mistake that PENTA made on Mexico.
Right now, PENTA, I think they need to divert themselves away from this standard A take they keep trying to pull off. SV, and they've done a great job of adapting to that, and I don't think PENTA's going to be able to do it again here in this half, and they really need to try and sort of almost throw a fake towards that A at this point and try and pull these SV players off and force the early rotations to go against them, but PENTA still playing safe early, looking for the opening pick, but this time they don't seem so sure where they want to take it.
We mentioned near the start, 2-3 rounds in, that Snox and both N9 were going off. Snox has gone quiet. N9, we just saw him get another triple in that last game. It's continued his dominance, 11 frags. And we're only 6 rounds in, so still a big chance to really stretch that even further as Super Valiant go a little aggressive. N9's got himself tucked in once again. 18 gets a peek around in Sniper, and their attention is not really working. They're trying to draw them away to A site. It's not working. You can see them stacking up here. Bomb still in the hand over here towards the A site, but there is a distraction being set up by Creeds and Moon here, but still, nobody peeking. They're using the clock to their advantage.
Still PENTA, they're playing so slow here, but SV, they're going to match the patience here across the board, just waiting for one of these players to try and peek them, but PENTA, they're going to be forcing their way up wood here, but N9, he's playing cheeky behind the box. He gets caught already, and PENTA, they're on track to another round.
Well, NLS and Snox do get themselves 1. They've got to be careful of the backstab. Moon gets himself his first kill of the map, and WQ comes in. Can he make it 1, 2, can't make it 3. And PENTA will pick up a round. It was a slow play, and it ground out in the end, 4-3. The advantage goes their way once again.
Still a very close map, and SV, the opportunity still for them to keep this one well within their grasp. We sort of thought about PENTA needing to get something, a pretty good scoreline, I would say, on this first half. They're on blacklist. So 6-3 is where you want to be sitting if you're PENTA at the end of this half. It's still a difficult ask because SV has been able to always come back and get a single round when PENTA has gotten their own. FaZe, though, has other ideas. It's about 4 for the round, 2 double kills, and that's 5-3. And now we have a bit of an interesting game on our hands. Super Valiant, they need this last round.
If PENTA pick up this round after FaZe's heroics there, getting himself 4 for the round, it will be huge. With a capital H and a capital U. That's how big it will be. PENTA.
But a lowercase G and E.
Yeah.
That's a pretty odd looking word.
It's got to be huge.
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 Okay.
That's how big it's going to be this round. And it's going to be, well, it's looking like the A-stack once again. That's maybe now is possibly the time to do it, actually, but it looks like Super Valiant are reading this, judging by the map rotations I'm seeing. Look towards the A side, you can see N9 already creeping his way through. WQ's kind of expecting this as they stack in Sniper and S. FaZe is going to get across. They've had a lot of action in this middle. They've been finding M's in, they've been finding N9 in this middle push, and that's where they're going to go again.
And the main problem with this is if they sit there too long, they're slowly giving that information over to Anka, who's playing at the edge of B. But 18, he's just going to know if you're a peek it, already finding 1. This is not looking too good for PENTA to start off the round.
Well, he finally goes down. I think he'd used all his bullets there, so he didn't have much to use, but Dabaku, MZ comes in. It's going to be a 5-4 half, and that's what Super Valiant wanted. It gives himself a real big chance here as they move over towards Blacklist.
5-4. It's as close as it's going to get after that first half, but I'm still leaning on Super Valiant here.
It's a sour-tasting score, isn't it? It's one you think that Penta really probably could have done with a 6-3 minimum, I would say, there on the attack, because we'll see how their defense works out. It was not the greatest on the previous map. Actually, it was very strong on Mexico, I would say. They did well defending on Mexico for a time. However, giving Super Valiant a chance on a map, you can't really snowball it out of control, honestly. You've got to feel it's in their hands now.
I wouldn't say necessarily yet that I would just be handing it over to SV at this point, but I think they're in the lead, even though they're behind. That doesn't make sense, but...
Right now, though, it's a pretty brilliant setup coming out from Penta. They've got just a nice cross on the A doors, and I don't know if SV is necessarily going to be ready for Snock's position here on the hard left. They're going to have to go for a wide peek there to take him down, but SV, they're still playing pretty cautious here, and it looks like they actually want to go ahead and take this one slowly towards B now.
But Penta have read this so well. Look at their defensive positions. N9's going to push in. He goes looking for one, sees the other, took behind the box, and well, he just wipes out the hard defense that Penta had there, and suddenly Creeds has got to do some work. Moon manages to pick one off. Creeds finds one, looks for the head of N9, but he won't find it because Emzin will chime in with one of his own. Moon coming from the side, looks for one, can't get the kill, and now Snox in a 1v3, but this is low hit points. They have a chance here if he can find the head of Emzin. Oh, the taps are not quite catching it. Emzin down on nothing, but Emzin comes out on top. Snox just could not find the frag.
Emzin just continuing to take that fight. So risky. If he goes down there, it leaves it in a 2v1 still, sure, but those two players had no health between them. Inevitably, he does win the duel, but not so sure I'm a fan of that from SV. Still, secures them around 5 apiece. It's anyone's game at this point.
Right now, Penta, they really have to get a well-established defense going quickly. SV definitely notorious for steamrolling once they get a confident lead on their blacklist side, so they can't afford to let that happen. And once again, we do see the creep up towards wood control coming out from Penta. I'm not sure if they're going to cross Snox over this time around, though, because there could be someone lurking in that position. But again, Penta, they're playing predictably the same here. So if SV is ready for this double position over towards the B lockers, once again, it's going to be a tough road ahead for them. But this time, NLS is on top instead of behind the box. It might be a nice little cheeky change to catch them off guard.
Well, flash comes in, spray, not really going to work out. And again, they both get caught out. So Creeds and NLS will fall once again at the B site. Are they going to try keep pushing it? Doesn't matter. FaZe, last man standing, 1v5, gets one. Looks across, swings behind him, gets a glimpse on Ank, sees N9. N9 takes him down, and this is what we talked about. This is the danger. Super Valiant, 2 maps running, first one very close, but now they pick up themselves another round. They have the advantage, and now Penta are in a little worrisome position.
They certainly are. 2 in a row for Super Valiant. Momentum starting to flow, the blood's pumping. I'm sure they can feel it. Only 4 rounds away. They don't want to throw this one like Penta did in the last map.
Definitely like the change-up, though, finally coming out of Penta. They're not going to go for the contest over by wood, and they're not going to go for the double stack on the B entrance. They're a little bit more distance, and I think that could actually play in their favor unless it is a full A take from SV. But once again, SV, they're reading the situation so well that they're going to try and apply the pressure here over towards A. Emzin's still going to be lurking around over towards mid, but it's really going to be up to Snox on this initial hold here now.
Snox the man to try and catch them. Creeds taking a peek. Snox caught with nade in hand, will get himself one. No, N9 just comes in and blitzkriegs the situation.
Whoa.
Gets Moon down. NLS through the doors, gets peppered. He's going to get picked off. There's the nade. That should finish the job. Will took him in the side. The flash goes through. They get the plant down, and it is a 5-man hold against Penta, who are down to nothing in terms of hit points. Emzin finds himself one, and there's really nothing they can do when they're picked off like that.
Yeah, this is not looking good at all for Penta, particularly given the performance of N9 so far in this second half. 6-0 after the first 3 rounds, and he's just really stepping up. He's having those rounds that we talk about from him. That one in particular, a great example of it. Running into the B bomb site, 2 clean headshots. B site opened up for Super Valiant. That's a very scary prospect here for Penta Sports.
There's a couple of early kills going on overall towards B there, and it's a fairly even trade, so we're down to a 3-on-3 already. But N9, as you said, still alive. Snox yet to wake up, really. He's been caught in the rotates every time. This time he gets himself his first frag of the half. Ant goes down, but he drops in immediately to Emzin. Now they know where they are. Gets another peek. Face still holding that sniper rifle. Not too sure how successful he's been with it, honestly, on this defensive side, as the scores read the story. 7-5, close to 8-5 here if Emzin has his way.
And 9 in such a key position here on this round, too. He's basically behind both defenders, and it looks like they may just decide to collapse in here. Emzin slowly working his way up towards the top of A, but N9, he's still hiding his presence onto B, but Emzin, he's going to have to get over to B eventually. The bomb will get planted, and that's going to put Emzin in a pretty difficult position if he can't frag out quickly, but he actually sneaks around.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough from Emzin. He's still going to get there before Penta does, or if not, he's going to be able to catch them on the rotate, which seems to be the option for him at this point. N9 holding quite far back, very, very safe right now, allowing time for Emzin to rotate across, but the defuse is on N9. This is dangerous now. Emzin, the bomb was not planted for him, but he's going to peek out there. FaZe goes down.
What?
And Moon. Emzin, just, I don't even know where that comes from.
I honestly, I thought he was sticking the defuse. I thought he'd already got it.
That's what I thought too.
And they must have pulled away when N9 came around, because I thought he had it, but clearly pulled away, and now at 8-5, it's SVs to take. They've been unstoppable so far on the attack. 4 rounds back-to-back unanswered by Penta.
Penta, they've got to play perfect from here on out. NLS, though, 0 frags on the table. Snox with only 1 as well. Not what we expected from Penta, but SV, they've all stepped up here to try and close this match out. So far, they're definitely on track to do so. 2 rounds away, but they definitely need to be careful. Again, Penta going for this aggressive play towards Wood. It hasn't really worked out in their favor so far, but they're actually just going to leave a player on the side of SV. It's going to be Anka left to toy with them as the rest of the team works slowly towards B.
Super Valiant waiting patiently. Penta, they need some sort of response here. NLS yet to pick up a frag in the half. 4 rounds down. Moon trying to go for the peak, trying to find something. They really want to get some sort of opening, something going. It's ironic, right, that we talk about how Black Widow's very much Super Valiant's map, and yet sub-base is very much Penta's, and yet we see both opposition teams working very well. Moon with the double as they go for the double door entry.
That was the bomb.
Around. NLS gets himself another down. Like you say, they find the bomb. FaZe gets another, and this could be the first defensive round as Moon gets himself a triple in the half. And that's exactly what they needed. Their first round on the board at 8-6 now.
Yeah, well, Moon starting to have an impact here in the second half, but is it too little too late? SV just
fast.
charging right in towards the A-bomb site right now. A lot of utility out from them. 18 gets the first opening. That's Moon, the hero of the last round. There is at least a trade back from Penta, but SV have control of the A site so quickly. And WQ's in B.
WQ's in B, and he finds Creeds quickly there. He goes for the backstab, and, well, it works out well. 18 picks himself up a double. Now we're on match point, ladies and gentlemen. Super Valiant just 1 round away from victory here in Katowice. They're the champions a lot of people expected, but the question is, can they close it out? It has been a hard push by Penta, but now here on sub-base, it's Super Valiant's to take.
Certainly is. Super Valiant, 1 round away. This time slowing things down a little bit. They were very, very aggressive in the last, but they've decided to change up the pace and keep Penta Sports guessing. They do have some semblance of control in towards the B bomb site, but as of yet have decided not to push in
They have huge control. They're pushing it. They're going around the side. 18's got NLS. N9's pushing around the side. He gets himself one down. 18's cleared out B side, so they can go wherever they want right now. Creed's the last man standing. It will be Super Valiant that will take victory here at the Intel Extreme Masters Expo Invitational. They are the CROSSFIRE champions once again.
It was a hard-fought victory for Super Valiant, a hard-fought day really for them, as well as they did obviously drop their first map against PENTA Sports, but they've come back, they've won 2-1 in the best of 3 grand finals, and once again they're going to take their rightful place as the victors of yet another CROSSFIRE tournament.
The crazy thing, though, you got to give PENTA some credit. Not many teams can say they take 2 maps away from SV in an event, but at the end of the day, SV, they just always seem to be able to pull through.
Yeah, you've got to be looking towards a couple of crucial moments. Let's get over to Matt, who's standing by on stage as the team lift the trophy.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Kyle and Jordan as well. Ladies and gentlemen, our champions then of the IEM Expo Invitational, the new CROSSFIRE champions, the reigning world champions, now the reigning IEM Expo champions, Super Valiant Gaming! Let's have a chat with our winners. Let's go forward, guys. Lots of people here want to get some pictures. Let's make that happen. So, we've done this before, MZin. We've crowned you champions before, Super Valiant Gaming, but we've always done it in a quicker route and a little bit more straightforward run. So, firstly, please ask MZin and the guys for me. A 3-map final. Have they got any words to say about the fight that PENTA gave to them?
就是你们队最后一场，就是跟PENTA 最后一场决赛，这3张地图，你们想说一点什么？你们有什么样的想法？
我觉得我们整体发挥的不是特别好，但是最后也是稳住了。每一张地图对手给我们的压力都很大，还好我们就是以前的配合比较默契，打的时间比较长了，就是兄弟们还是稳住了。
Well, all in all, I can't say that our performance was that good. But the most important thing is that in the end, we made it. So the most important thing, the cooperation was good.
Between the team?
Yep.
Well, it worked, but it was a longer final than we've ever seen. We've seen so many 2-0s with Super Valiant. Was there ever a time when they worried after it was 1-1, for example? Was there ever a time when they worried that this wasn't going to be their day?
但是你们有没有担心过会输吗？就是
其实我们来比赛之前也考虑过这个比赛会输，但是没有太紧张，就是没有放在心上。比赛赢或输真的没有放在心上，因为确实放假也放了好久。然后我们想着这次就是抱着一个很好的心情去打这个比赛，自由发挥。完了，其实打着呢，有点紧了，就有点紧张。
Yeah, well, of course, generally speaking, we were a little bit nervous, but all in all, we didn't worry that much about the overall outcome. We knew that we can win, so we were pretty sure of ourselves.
You've always been pretty sure of yourselves, MZin. Your record shows it as well, to be fair. I know when we've been out in China, when we do the World Championships with CROSSFIRE Stars in China, and these are the 2-time reigning world champions, ladies and gentlemen. When we've done that event in China, I know how much it means to these guys to win in front of a Chinese audience, and I know there's an awful lot of people joining us from China right now, and thank you for sticking with us. I know it's a late day. Could you ask them for me, though? Emzin has always got a smile on his face. You always look like you're having fun, Emzin. How does it feel? What does it mean to them to win here in Europe?
就是你本人，每次参加比赛的时候，觉得很开心，表情的也很开心。然后在这次比赛在欧洲赢，有什么样的感觉？针对欧洲的对中。
因为我特别喜欢波兰，特别喜欢卡托维斯这个气氛，希望以后我们还能来到这里参加比赛，也希望还能感受这个氛围。就是看到这些玩家，电竞玩家，真的气氛特别的好，也能深深的感染到我们。
I really like Poland, Katowice as a city, and the whole atmosphere here. The mood, it's really love is in the air.
That's what you've done, Katowice. That's why IEM is always finishing its season in Katowice. That's why the biggest esports event in the world is IEM Katowice, because what you do, give yourselves a round of applause, Katowice. There's fantastic crowds that we get on all of our stages here, including this one, which has seen the two-time reigning world champions become the two-time reigning CROSSFIRE IEM Expo champions. Congratulations again, Super Valiant Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, our champions here at IEM Katowice, Super Valiant Gaming. Back to Lee, back to Kyle, and back to Jordan after another incredible day. And yes, they are the champions at the end of it, as we've seen so many times, but a different day than maybe we expected to get here.
Yes, absolutely, a very different day, I think, but in the end, the result is the same, and that's kind of what Emzin was saying, though. Like, the journey was very different as they expected, but they got there in the end, weren't they? And that's really what counts.
Yeah, I think it's just a standard day at the office, really, here for Super Valiant. They're so used to winning that, yeah, despite the fact that it took them perhaps a bit of a different journey, it's all about the destination, not the journey, as they say.
Yeah, and let's have a look at some of the, obviously, action that happened in that final round, because Subbase, you know, we were talking about it, and we were thinking maybe this is a really big chance for Penta to pick themselves up a good many rounds, and it was very close to going 6-3 at one point, and we were talking about that on the attack. It's like, well, they really needed 6, maybe 7 rounds until they got to defense, and if you look at the way it worked out, they absolutely did.
Yeah, I mean, 10-6, it was the most one-sided map of the entire series. But as we have a look at the replays, I mean...
That was the start, right? N9 getting that triple kill in the first round. You're just like, oh, okay.
But obviously for SV, they weren't particularly worried throughout that. They knew that they were going to come into that second half and have a fairly good one. So I don't think it would have necessarily mattered had it been 6, had it even been 7, perhaps for Penta. The performance that we saw from Super Valiant on their own Blacklist side was just far too dominant.
They just seem to, me, Kyle, just have a really good read on Penta. From an attacking point of view, they kind of like, they pulled them from pillar to post. They were like, okay, we're going to double stack, we're going to go forward on wood, we're going to hold 2 there. That didn't work, 2 rounds running, so like, okay, let's pull a couple of people to mid. Okay, that didn't work. Let's go over to A, let's try and stack out there. That didn't work. And they kind of just seem to just be second guessing themselves as to when you think Penta ordinarily on sub base would just be so strong.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it too was we saw Penta, they fell into some pretty predictable patterns on their global risk half. I mean, they went for wood control almost every single round there. I think there was only 2 rounds on their global risk half that they didn't try and contest there. And a lot of those rounds, they got torn apart. Same thing with trying to play aggressive on B. They just couldn't make it happen. And I think ultimately SV, they did read them so well and just tear apart those positions.
Well, let's check out the final brackets, of course, for the tournament. If you missed it, it was a cracking start. Penta took down Flipside in a very close 10-8 victory. Super Valiant ran over XQ Intense 10-1. Of course, that led to this winner bracket where Penta came out on top in the first time they clashed in a very impressive 10-3 on Port. That led, of course, to the finals where we saw Port being banned out, as we would expect by Super Valiant. Didn't want that again. It took us to a very close matchup. The finals, of course, you can see it was 2-1. We finished up on Black Widow, Mexico, sorry, at the start, Black Widow, and then, of course, finally finishing on Subbase. And, of course, we had that epic golden round effectively coming through. What is your final take from the Intel Extreme Masters Expo CROSSFIRE Challenge here What are you seeing? Do we see Europe going forward? Do you think looking towards December? Do you think PENTA, they could do it?
It was a pretty good performance, I've got to say, there from PENTA. I didn't expect them to be able to get 2 maps, let alone even 1 off Super Valiant. So for that, I've got to say I'm impressed. In general, though, I'm not surprised that it is Super Valiant to come away with the victory here at the IEM Expo.
Kyle?
Yeah, I think PENTA has sort of stapled themselves as the team to beat now in Europe. I mean, flip side, also going out in 4th, we didn't really expect that either, so they're definitely going to have to really study this to see how they can improve, but definitely opens the door for teams like Intense to maybe contest that European title as well as we get closer towards the end of the year grand finals.
Well, we've got a long way to go before we get there. We're only in March. The finals looking like they're going to be in December once again, the CROSSFIRE Stars in China. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, here at the CROSSFIRE IEM Expo Invitational. It has been fantastic. Thank you very much, Kyle, Jordan, and, of course, Matt over on the stage. Thank you very much to the crew, of course, who work hard behind the scenes. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do anything. And the admins who are right behind the curtain here, giving me all the information of what the picks and bans, of course, were. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us here at the Intel Extreme Masters in Katowice. We'll see you next time.